How's everybody doing? My name is Mark Vila with Colman and Company, and today we are getting ready to start our webinar on glitter heat transfer, making glitter heat transfer vinyl t-shirts with the cut and press system. And as we talked about here, we're going to use graphic software, we're going to apply some glitter and opaque, we're going to talk about the cut and press system, what it includes, we're going to talk about the cutter a bit, and the heat press and some other accessories you can get with it. So we're going to try to cover a lot of material today and make this just as beneficial as possible to you. First and foremost, I'm going to use a stock graphic. It's an Action Illustrated graphic. We sell kits made by Action Illustrated. This could also be a graphic from anywhere. It could be designed custom by you in a graphics program, or it could be something that you download offline. It could be something that you buy through like a stock photo website, etc. There's a lot of different things you can do here. So I'm going to choose all files, and I'm going to find out this Wolverine. It's an EPS file, so it's a graphic. It's a vector graphic file. And the first thing that the software is going to do is it's going to import it in. It's going to take a little bit of a second because we're live streaming here. There we go. So here's the graphic. All right, we're going to take this graphic. Make sure I'm connected to my cutter real quick. Okay, yeah, I'm connected to the cutter. I just need to put a media. All right, very good. All right, so we're going to take this graphic and we are going to put the words Wolverines along the side of it. We're going to chop it up a bit so we can turn it actually into a two-color design. And then we're going to take those and we're going to cut them into different colors, one being glitter and opaque combo. We're going to say that that's like say if this is the high school team we're doing right now. We're going to say this is going to be for, these are the women's shirts, and then we're also going to do a men's shirts design. So we're going to do two different designs to talk about how we take the same graphic and different colors of vinyl and make it into two designs that look different, they cost a little bit different to make, but they're the same process of making them. So the first thing we're going to do to this is we're going to adjust our canvas. Okay, I'm going to use a 15-inch piece of vinyl, so I'm going to bring this to right around 14. And once I load my vinyl in, we're going to put on automatic mode. So we'll do that first. You can't see me right now because I'm not on video, but I realized I didn't put a piece of vinyl in. When I put a piece of vinyl in my machine, and you'll get to see me do it in a couple minutes, but when I put a piece in, it's going to read right now. It's going to read the vinyl. It's going to check what size. And then I'm going to be able to choose automatic. So here we go. We'll wait for that to load. It's loaded up. That says ready. So now I've got vinyl in there. And I'm going to go to my canvas. And I'm going to choose automatic. Boom. What did it do? It knows that I have a long piece of vinyl because I've got a full roll on there. And I tell it how long that page size is. And it measures the width of it as well. So we're just going to dial all the way down here and just look at the area we're going to be working with. So here's my Wolverine. First thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to convert, oops, here we go. Make it a compound path, okay? Basically, I'm turning it from that graphic and colors into the lines that I'm going to cut, okay? Now I've got a lot of different lines. What am I going to do with these? That's really kind of the question is what pieces am I going to cut out? What pieces am I going to make into the different types of material? So I need to look at that and think about it for a moment. All right, so I see, if I'm looking at my graphic here, I've got this this center line right here. So I'm gonna separate these out. I'm gonna release the path. Now it's a whole bunch of different lines. I can do whatever I want individually. So I'm gonna grab them individually and actually adjust the colors to them. Because I'm gonna cut some of these in glitter, and I'm gonna cut some of them in a black. So I'm gonna grab all of kind of the accent pieces. So I'm going to grab this up here, and I'm going to put them as black, just so I can easily have a really strong contrast. And I'll grab this one down here. Little chin strap. All right, we'll do the nose as well. And what I'm doing here is by changing the line colors, I'll have the ability to cut these as separate pieces later on. So I'll be able to go and say, I just want to cut the black lines now. And then I'm just going to want to cut the red lines. So you can see I'm just easily just changing through, and we're going to grab all of these highlights, is what I'm kind of going to call them in the graphic here, and make all these black. Okay, let's see, is that everything that I want to do today? Oh, no, I'm going to add this one up here too. I'm not going to, those are teeth I see down there. I'm not going to grab the teeth, because I'm going to do some of it on a white shirt. I'm going to use the shirt for some of the color as well. All right, so that looks like everything I want to grab, but I want to do something else while I'm in here. So I'm going to zoom in on some spots so I can show you how we can also do a little bit of additional manipulation on this graphic. So watch, I'm going to zoom in up here because I notice this up here. There's a really thin line up here. I'm not going to get a lot out of this little area, so I'm going to click on this, and I can turn on my points. And I'm actually going to grab this, and I'm going to edit this a little bit. I'm going to get rid of this. I don't need that line to be as thin and long as it was. I wasn't going to gain anything out of that. So I'm going to go to some of these edges, and I'm just going to clean them up a little bit. And this is literally just taking a regular graphic you could have gotten anywhere and altering it within the software. All right, and I'm going to do the same thing on this one too. The reason why I'm doing this, and this is kind of some of the theory that I talk about in vinyl, right? When I talk about vinyl theory, is thinking about cutting this stuff. When I'm cutting this, I'm trying to think, okay, what's going to happen here? What's going to happen when my cutter goes to cut this right here? Well, what was it going to do? It was going to slice right through that. I wouldn't have had, this piece wouldn't have been a nice defined edge like I would like it to be. That's some of the theory behind it. I'm not thinking of printing something, because we're not printing today. We are cutting. So when I'm cutting, I have to think about a blade going through a piece of material. If I adjust some of this, will it look better? Will it be easier to weed? Will it be easier to pull the material apart? That's going to be easier to pull apart. And I haven't lost anything in the graphic. My graphic is still going to look great. I haven't lost any detail, because I can even just point that up a bit more. And that's still going to look fantastic. So I'll go back here. And here, now I feel good about all the edges where I am. So all the edges feel nice. I think I did see one other one. I'm going to turn to black. There we go. Okay, great. So now I'm beginning to see this, okay? What I'm looking for here is I'm looking at, all right, what am I going to weed out in which color? What am I going to move around? And then I'm seeing my design. And this is part of the theory behind it. As you're designing this stuff and you're taking graphic, you want to think about how many colors of vinyl am I going to use? What am I going to cut out? And as I'm looking at that right now, I realize I've got a double edge layer here. I could add a third color, but I don't need to. So I can actually grab that outermost layer and just get rid of it. And you see what I did there? So now I've got this Wolverine head. And this is a fairly complex design, but it's going to look amazing. I know it's going to look amazing when we put it together. So next thing, I'm going to add some lettering. And we're going to do a cool effect with this too. So we'll do the lettering, vertical, and I'm going to say Wolverines, right? Okay. Now I'm going to pick a font to use. So I can actually select the whole thing there. And here's my fonts. Any font you've got on your computer is going to pop up in the software. This software comes with the cut and press system. It comes standard, so you're going to get it. All right, so that one looks pretty good. I'm just going to buzz through and see if there's anything else I might like a little bit better. I was thinking about this one earlier. No, that one's a little artsy for what I want on this, because remember, I'm imagining this one as being like something for Franklin Gothic. Could work. The impact is right now where I'm leaning on. And this is what you would do. You know, you would talk with your customer. You'd go through here. You'd go through the fonts that you have. The Tahoma font can be good. What if I did Tahoma and bold? I actually like that a lot. So that looks good. That looks nice. I think it's going to be easy to weed. It's going to look good. It's going to have the impact that my customer is going to want. It's going to be nice and bold. But I want to add another effect. Since we're doing a two-color design and I'm using this space, I might as well add some additional effect to it. So we're going to add this offset to it. And as you can see, it kind of made a little bit of a mess around it, right? So I'm going to adjust my offset distance. And this is something that you'll play with a bit and you'll understand exactly what's happening here. I like that. Not the way it sits, but we'll see what it's going to do. All right. So now I'm going to grab this and I'm going to make that black. Because what I'm going to do is the accent pieces that are in my Wolverine here, I'm going to make the same color as the lettering. So we have a really cool effect that's going to tie the shirt together. But what I'm also going to do in here is I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the other. So I'm going to release the compound path. So I have individual pieces. There we go. And I don't want that little O to cut out. I'm going to keep that. There's another little one in here. I'm going to get rid of that because I'm just going to make this a solid piece behind it. All right, so the red is going to be one solid color. That's going to match part of this Wolverine head. And then the letters are going to match the accent. So this is going to pop off the shirt awesome. And it's really going to tie the image together with the lettering on the side. And no matter what color shirt I put it on, it doesn't matter because I can pick a contrasting background color for the Wolverines that will make it, the lettering pop off the shirt. Because oftentimes you see a shirt and it looks great, but it's hard to read the lettering because you're not getting it to pop off very well. And that's what we're going to do by making this double layer of lettering. So my design is done. I don't know how long we've been doing it for, maybe 10 minutes or so, but even with the chatting and telling you what I'm doing, the design portion is done. Now we're ready to cut it out. So how do I cut it out? I'm going to show you here what I'm going to do, and then I'm actually going to do it on camera so you can see it happening. But what I would do is I would go to here. This is my configure cut job, and I'm going to configure by color. So the first color I'm going to cut out is going to be a glitter, and it shows me exactly how it's going to cut it. Then I'm going to come back on my screen. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to turn the other color on, and we're going to cut that out. Then we're going to take those two designs, we're going to weed them, we're going to put them on a heat press, and we're going to drop them onto a shirt. Now what happens over here is I click on this. This is opening the cutter window. It syncs to the device. Every time you click away and you go back, it reads your device. Awesome feature of the GraphTech series of cutters is that you can not only set cutting conditions in your cutter by telling it to do certain things and asking the machine to do certain things while you're in here. Like for example, after my cut job, I'm going to tell it to feed out 2 more inches so I have plenty of room to take my razor blade and cut my vinyl off. That's something you can do. Since I opened up this screen, I kind of hear my cutter dance for a second there. It's checking to see if we changed anything. Then it's going to sync back. It's going to say that we're ready. And once we're ready, we can send a design over to the cutter. So we've done that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch over to video. I'm going to say hi to you for a split second, and then we're going to roll the camera right over to the cutter so I can show you how I'm prepping my cutter to cut this out. And then by the time we're at that point, all I'm going to do is click send to cutter. So I'm going to turn my screen off. Camera on. Now you get to see me. I've been here the whole time just chatting behind my fun workstation here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the camera, we're going to go over to the cutter. I'm going to show you how we're going to configure this. Some of you folks might already have cutters and know what we're doing here. Great, but I'm going to show you what we do, okay? This is what you would do. First thing, you got a cutter. You're ready to cut in some glitter material. This is a silver glitter we're going to cut on. Here's the full roll. The roll's in the back. And I'll show you how we load that when we're done with the next one. But I'm going to take my blade out. This, as simple as this is, it's a blade that's going to cut through this material. So what we need to do is we need to prepare the blade to cut through the glitter material, which is a thick material. So I'm going to basically push some more of the blade out than I had in there before because I cut some opaque material before. And we talk about the details in this, and you can call and we'll help you get through. Well, how do I adjust that? Don't worry about that right now. It's very easy. You'll learn it. So we set that back in there now, and then there's a test function. So I'm going to click on the test. I'm going to do a little test cut. It's going to do a cut, and I'm going to see if my cut's good. So it spits it out. And if my cut is good, I cut out a little triangle. You see that? Perfect. That's exactly what I want. I want it to not cut through the whole sheet, but cut through that so I can easily take my pick tool and pop it out. And that's exactly what I did. So we're beautiful. We're in a perfect position right now. We'll go back to our main menu. It's almost in ready mode. Now it's in ready mode. I want to move it just a tad over to get past where I cut my test, and we are going to cut. So what you can't see me doing right now is I'm going over to my cutting screen. And I'm going to send it to the cutter. The one thing I also am going to do real quick is I'm just going to check the size of how big this design is. It's 7.285 inches tall and 9.5 inches wide. So I'm happy with that size. I didn't verify that when we were looking at it. All right, Robert, I hope you can see something now. As I mentioned in the beginning, sometimes there could be a little bit of a delay. Click away, click back, click on the little blue snowflake, get it back. You should be able to get it. If you don't get video in a minute or so, then go away and come back. But sometimes there's a bit of a delay depending on your internet connection. Oh, thank you, Robert. You're good. I appreciate you following up with that. Okay, awesome. So now we're here. I'm ready to go to the cutter. I'm all set. I verified the size of my design. I chose to cut the black areas. Remember, we're cutting the black area here, and I'm going to hit send to cutter. And this is going to take a minute, maybe. It's very fast. What the cutter is actually doing, it's rolling the material through the machine, pushing that blade down where those black lines were, and lifting them up when they're not there. And the machine and the software itself kind of do the math on what line to cut first and when to be done. And when it's done, it's going to stop, and it's going to spit it out forward. And I'm going to take this little blade, and I'm going to slice it right off. And we're going to bring it over to our table, and then we're going to go ahead and bring over. So we're all done. It's spit it out. I can verify it's hard. It's going to be hard for you to see. I can never get it right on camera to really show, but I'm looking for the edge of my lettering, and you can probably see right there the W. So I verified that it did spit out where I wanted to. I know that 2 inches is enough, so I knew I was going to be safe without looking, and you will too eventually. So now I've got this piece of material right here with my design. Now we're going to switch to another color. So I pushed a lever down in the back. I'm going to pull this off, and I'm going to get my next color. I'm going to bring all my colors to the front. I've left them back there when I'm working in the front. All right. So here's my colors. The next one I'm going to use is going to be this black. So I'm going to put it back here on these rollers. I'm going to feed it through the machine. I'm going to line it up with these lines right here that make sure that it's straight, lock it in place. I'm going to tell it that I've got a roll on there, and I want to cut to the front edge of the roll. So it's going to read how wide it is right now. It's going to spit it right to the front. It's going to begin in the start area at the edge of the roll, and then it's going to tell me that it's ready. But it's not ready, is it? I'm cutting a different material now, so I need to make an adjustment to my blade. So I'm going to loosen how much blade I have by about just over, a little bit over almost a full revolution, a half of a revolution. And I'm going to do a cut test. Now I know the difference between these two materials is about from noon to about, say, 5 o'clock, if we're looking at a clock. If it was at noon and spin it to 5, I know that that's generally it. And I'll verify by pulling out my triangle. Came out beautifully. I'll pull out the square, cut around it, and that came out beautifully too. And I did not cut through my material, so I know I'm all set. Push enter, go back, move it just a little bit out of the way from where I did my test, and I'm all set right now. Okay. Now in my design, I know that it's not cutting out of that corner, so I could have just let it cut. But for the sake of demonstration, I'm going to be extra safe and make sure that it cuts right the first time. So now we're good here, and let's go. I'm going to go back to my screen. And all I'm doing now is switching from the black to the red. So I turn the red on, turn the black off, and now I'm going to cut the rest of this design. I'm going to go to my screen. It's going to sync back. It's going to tell me when the machine is ready. The machine's ready, and I'm going to send it to the cutter. And it's going to cut this out. While this is cutting, I'm going to check questions. Looks like there might be one or two down here. Okay. All right, looks like Jerry left. He couldn't get an image. Hopefully he comes right back. I mean, honestly, just sometimes if your internet connection is not that great, we're doing a live demo here. It's important to, make sure you've got a good connection. And sometimes it just doesn't work out. But we do record these. So we're going to get it. If you miss a spot or anything like that, you're going to be able to see it. So we're done now. I'm going to verify my cut. You can actually see the cuts in this material well. You see the face? And now we're going to take this and we're going to cut this out. I'm going to do my next color. So lever down. I've got the silver material we're going to cut into. Put it in my roller. I'm going to take this completely off the roll, because I don't have a lot of this material left. So I just pulled it off the roll. When you're down to this end of the material here, when you're down to the end of your roll, you can actually tell machine that you don't have a roll in there anymore. You've got a sheet on number 3, and it will actually measure the length of your sheet and tell you how much you can cut in the software. So it will change that page size from that really long one, if you remember in the beginning, it was really long. It would shrink it down to just the spot, and I can squeeze in maybe 5 of these shirts into this one cut. That's the purpose of that, is that you can actually cut many of these shirts at once. Maybe you cut 5 at a time. I'm only making 2 shirts today, so I'm going to cut 4 colors. But if you were doing, say, 10 of each, 10 ladies, 10 men's, or 20 and 20, you can cut a whole lot in a row, then switch your color. You don't. So anyway, I know that's obvious, but it's just a thing to say. So we're all set now. I'm going to do the same test since I switched colors. I know the thickness of this is a little bit different on this silver. It's a little thinner. So I just like to verify. That looks good. And that looks good as well. And now we're going to cut. All right, we're set. And I'm going to, now I know my design is fine, so I'm just going to leave it in the bottom corner there. Let me bring up my camera again just so everyone can see. There we go. So I did my test again, but I'm just going to leave it in this bottom corner. I know my design doesn't cut in the very bottom corner, so I don't have to move it. So I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to cut. This is going to be the black portion again. This is going to be the accent color and my lettering. Go here, let it sync, make sure everything is good. I didn't change anything on the cutter. It's going to let me know it's ready, and I'm going to send it to the cutter. Now we're going to cut out this color. So you can see this is fast. Swapping between colors isn't too big of a deal. When you're doing these in bulk, 10, 20, 30, 40 shirts, you cut all of one color out at once. But my first recommendation on tips and theory and such is cut your first one out in all the colors, line up the design, make sure it looks exactly how you want, then do the rest of your cuts. Okay, I cut this design ahead of time. You know, I designed a similar and cut it ahead of time. So I'm fairly confident that what I'm going to do is right. I might mess up, and I might look like a fool in front of all of you, but I'm pretty sure that I won't. I prepared. And now we're going to do one more color. But what I'm going to show you on this color is I got a brand new box. So I'm just going to show you how you get this material when you receive it. So this is FDC vinyl. It is really good vinyl. it's quality product. If you want to sell t-shirts to your customers that they're going to like and they're going to wash and wear and come back to you again, and you're going to be doing vinyl product, this is what's going to make them happy. You can buy cheaper generic stuff out there, and if that's who you're selling to, I'm not going to knock you for doing that. But there are a lot of folks that say that they don't. Oh, I've had vinyl. They're going to tell you, I've had vinyl shirts done before. I don't want that. It's really cheap, and it looks tacky, and it's uncomfortable. And then you are going to tell them, I realize that you've gotten that before. That's not what I sell you. What I sell you is a premium product from a premium manufacturer, and these shirts are going to wash well, they're going to wear well, they're going to look great, and you're going to love them. And you're going to love making them, honestly, just as much as your customers are going to like wearing them. Because when you're dealing with a good product like this, it heat presses well, it cuts well, everything just works better, and it looks better. So now we're going to line up our edge, close this up, tell it to go to the front edge. I am going to do another test cut just because I'm going to try to be a creature of habit on this and just always do a quick test because it happens so quickly that I'm not making mistakes. I don't end up cutting a bunch of stuff that's a waste of time. Or vinyl, that would be terrible. You cut this whole thing out and you didn't cut it right, or you didn't have your blade out enough, and then you got to go do the whole thing again. Good. Now we're on our last color. So I'm going to go in my software here. I'm going to switch it over to the red lines again because this is going to be the main color on my second shirt. Go in here, and I'm going to send it to the cutter. While this is cutting, I'm going to answer a question that somebody asked. How does this product compare to the Caesar products? It's going to be, I would say, better or equivalent depending on the color. I've seen some that I couldn't tell the difference between. I think on the white, I'm trying to remember now. They were both really good on. I pulled some of the glitters. I really like the FDC glitter the best of anything I've ever tried, which is why I wanted to do a demo specifically with glitter today. It weeds so easy. They don't even call their product Easy Weed because every single one of their products weeds easily. And that's just a fact. Everyone I've ever tried seems to weed easier than the next. The patterns, the prints, the opaques, the glitter, they all weed so easily. They all cut easily when I need to do something like this. I don't have to really put effort into getting through this material. It is so thin as well. So I would say if you've used other vinyl products and you make vinyl shirts and you're skeptical about this material, just you call Colman and Company and ask for me. There's another great guy named Brandon. He's a new guy. Call bother him too. Say, hey Brandon, I saw Mark on video and he said if I call up to try out some of the FDC vinyl, we will hook you up. We will send you a sample. We will give you a discount if you want to get some more, but we're very confident in it. I love it. So we're all done with the computer. I'm going to put this away. And we've got our 4 colors here. And these 2 are going to go together. So I'm going to do these next. And these 2 are going to go together. So I'm going to do these first. So come on in. Let me invite you into my world of weeding vinyl. This is going to go on this white shirt, by the way. So we're going to do that towards the end here. So what do I have to do? First things first is I need to just weed these out. So you take your weeding tool, grab the edge. We all see Brandon's hand here, right? He's helping me out. All right. So how do we do this? You grab your edge, get it started. Now this is a fairly complicated design, right? This wasn't, get your mouse out of the way, by the way. If you have any mice, animal creatures, pets, get them out of the way. So we're going to peel this off now. If your cutter is set right, this will go really quick and easy. Once you get it going, then you could really pull on this stuff and get it off. I like to go in a circle. I find that when I go around on the circle and get to edges and work towards the middle, I minimize the amount that I have to do separately by hand. And I'll show you what I mean by that in a moment. Okay? Have a trash can or something to the side. So when you put this material down, you're not leaving all your weed stuff on the top in your work area, because this is what's going to happen. You're going to weed this off, and you're going to put it here, and it's going to fall back on here, and it's going to accidentally end up on a shirt. So have a garbage can on the side. Now we need to weed this out. This is where it can get a little funky on you, because, well, what do I wear? Look at your graphic. Just open up your graphic again. Okay? I know what I'm weeding out. I hope I do. My teeth. Once you get it up, you can actually even just use your hand, and it'll peel. It peels right off nice and easily. And I'm peeling out. Oh, okay. Let's see. Where am I at? It's right here. Now, let me show you something here. Remember how I adjusted that little edge here, that little tip? You can see. If you would let that give a really long tail, that'd be hard to weed, because you'd have this really long tail of material, and what would you have gained out of it? Not very much. So I'll pull this through. Weeding tool out of the way. And look, I broke my own rule. You see this? I didn't throw it away, and look where it went. Stuck to my paper. So you don't want that to happen. There we go. Use my garbage can, which it's the floor right now, but don't tell anybody. Oh, I promise I'm going to pick it up. I promise. I'm going to pick it up before I finish. All right. Here we go. And let me move over to this piece real quick as well. This one, I don't really need the weeding tools as much, because it comes off essentially with my hand. Look at that. Now someone will say, like, did I have to use up all that extra? No, I didn't, you know. If I was being real efficient and this was, and I was trying to maximize the amount of use I was getting out of the vinyl, I could actually cut that and save a good 4-inch piece and use it for another day. But for the sake of this demonstration, I was just trying to keep it simple for you guys. When I say about going in a circle here, you're going to see what happens with my lettering, which is what's so nice about it. See, almost all my lettering came out in one shot by going around. Right. How do you know what to weed or what not to weed? You know, that's kind of a question people ask. Well, how do I know if I'm doing the right pieces or not? Here we go. Let's make sure. I think I got everything. If something's questionable, don't weed it right away. Go to your next spot, and as I can see I'm missing some stuff here. All right, that doesn't look right. I can tell it doesn't look right. What didn't I do? I still need to finish my lettering. So I'll go in here, pull out my R, pull out my O. And I think there's a little bit right here that doesn't belong. Yep, there we go. E. Bottom of this E. All right, so now, let me flip this around. Let me not be rude. Let me show you guys what we've got here. Okay? You see what I'm looking at? Now we're going to do this on the shirt, but the reason I'm doing this on this table here is a couple things. For one, to make sure I don't weed anything out that I shouldn't weed out before it goes on the shirt. And the other is just to get a nice visual of what it's going to look like. This way, if I made a mistake or anything like that, it's before I'm getting to the t-shirt. Okay? So we've got everything that's going to be, that I'm seeing here is, I can see my table, that's going to be my t-shirt. And then you can see it. So this looks great. This is ready to go on the shirt. Why don't we put this on a shirt? So, now I've got a laser alignment system set up here. I'm not going to use that now. I'm going to save that to the end. Because for this one, I'm not going to need the laser alignment. Because what I'm doing is we're just going to do this right in the front and center of the shirt. So I've got, this is a 14-inch heat press, swing away. This is what comes standard in the kits. In the smaller kits, you can get larger ones, and there's upgraded kits as well. Or we can a la carte and do any heat press you want. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-press. Getting the iron out, flattening down the fibers of the shirt, just getting it nice and clean and ready to go so I have a good, perfect, smooth surface. Right there. All right, I'm going to get in the way of the camera for a moment as I get these materials. All right. Now, I'm looking at this, and I see that there's something else I wanted to weed out, wasn't there? So that's, this is all part of why I say, like, what I like about doing these vinyl types of shirts is you have the opportunity to really get into the shirt and see it as it's completed. I can see it on the shirt, and I like to do it like this a little bit on purpose on demos, because this is how you're going to do it in the real world. You're going to get a feel for the shirt, you're going to look at it, you're going to make sure it looks right. You're going to put it on top of the shirt, make sure your visual is good, then put it on the shirt. So this is an advantage to something compared to like sublimation or where you put a transfer paper on it, is you don't get to see your finished product before it's actually finished. With the vinyl material, you get to see exactly what it's going to look like before it's done. So there's that, and I can also do a visual of this as well if I wanted to. So now let's do this. So centered on this shirt, one advantage of the FDC vinyl, 325 degrees depending on the material. You only need a second and a hot peel for that first layer. So it's so fast. Trash can, floor for me, don't tell. All right, now I'll line this up. How do you know where to line it up right? Kind of pick 2 points. The nose is where I picked here, and the W. When I line those two up, the rest fall into place. So I put that down. Now this is the one that's going to make it official. 10 seconds. 10 seconds when we're done, we do a warm peel. A warm peel basically means count to 5 in your head. Let it cool down just a bit before you peel it off. That's what you want for the glitter one. For the opaque one, you hot peel right away. And there's instructions in all the other materials. When you get your material, don't assume that they're all going to be exactly the same. So just waiting a few seconds before I peel it. And beautiful. It comes off. Hot knife, butter, whatever words you want to use, it's easy. It comes off easily. There we go. So that looks sharp. We've got our black outline, we've got our glitter. So here's kind of what I was thinking of. This was like the lady shirt. We're going to offset, but we'll do the ladies. We'll do it on a white shirt. We'll do a women's cut shirt. We'll do Wolverines in a glitter with the black, so we'll match the school colors of the silver and black and white that the school might use. And this looks fantastic. I love this. If this was my size, I'd throw it on right now. It's too small. So we're not going to do that. Let's go to the next one. Yeah, come on over. We're going to do the same weed again, except now I'm probably going to talk just as much. I'm not going to lie to you because I can't stop talking. But I'm just going to weed it really quick. Go around in a circle, around the edges. I find that to go pretty well. The opaques have a little more work than the glitters do to peel off, but it's not hard. We're making t-shirts, folks. No matter how you make t-shirts, no matter what you get, screen printing, direct-to-garment printing, vinyl, sublimation, all these different ways you can make t-shirts, there's all work involved in it, okay? None of them are that hard to do in their own ways. They all have their own advantages. What do I like about the vinyl? You know, folks ask, why would I do this over screen printing? Or I heard that direct-to-garment, I could do more colors with it. You know, yes, this is true of all of these things. You know, there are advantages and disadvantages. What I like about the vinyl, for one, is if you're new to the business, it is a really awesome way to start, because remember how I was showing you, like, oh, check it again. Oh, I made a mistake. I'm going to fix it. Oh, there we go. Now I got it right. You can do that with vinyl. You can't do that with everything else. This looks good. All right. So that's one advantage to it. The other advantage is I get to do the glitter material. That's, you know, basically unique to using heat transfer vinyl as a glitter material. You can glitter through screen printing and some other methods, but it's really just not as easy as this is. Another advantage, you can do this on just about any material. It doesn't need to be cotton. It doesn't need to be polyester. It doesn't need to be anything specific. It could be a moisture wick shirt. It could be a sports jersey. You know, imagine this white right here on a basketball jersey or something like that. So you can do it on anything, on any material. If it's a stretchy material, you could do it on a stretchy material. If you're going to do, you know, you can even get super stretch materials for vinyl materials for, say, spandex. What happened? How'd this get up here? Okay. Can you layer on top of glitter vinyl? Okay, glitter vinyl is recommended, where's mine? Oh, there we go. As a top layer, okay? It's recommended as a top layer. However, I have taken glitter vinyl and put in a couple on top of each other and not had issues. You need to make sure that you're doing it at the right temperature and the right time. And glitter vinyl's not, you know, I mean, it is, it's more costly than opaque. So I don't mind dropping this Wolverine over this and not doing a lot of separation. But if I'm going to do glitter on glitter on glitter on glitter, then what I would recommend is cut some of that material out. Glitter's also thicker. 3 layers thick of glitter is not going to be the optimal thing for your customer. So that's my short and long answer to it. Yes, I've done it successfully, but if I was going to do it in a real world application, I would prefer to have it as little layering as possible on top of my glitter. One, for the thickness of the material, and 2, there's texture involved. So I don't want my design to be altered because of the texture of the underneath layer. This is a thin material in general. You know, glitter's thicker, but it's a thin material in general. So you want it to be nice and thin and comfortable for your customers. So that looks good. Let's check my top one. Do the same thing. Whoops. Okay. So everything looks right just about there. This is just my quick little test that I do the first time that I make one. It's good. So now I'll move over to my t-shirts. Let's get a black shirt. While this is up, this is what we're working with, by the way. We're doing this guy right here. And out of this book. This is an action sports. So it's a bunch of mascots and stuff. I chose a Wolverine out of there. Doesn't have to be from there. It could be from anywhere. What do we do first? If you remember, we do a pre-press. This one's going on the back for a reason. So same thing, I'm going to line it up with my center here. Pre-press it, 5 seconds is basically your rule of thumb there. Switch over. Swing away is nice. I like swing aways. It lets you work right on the shirt without having to do it on a different table and move it. But clamshells work just as well. If you remember, we only need a second there. Great. I lined up my W and I lined up my nose. Very easy to get it on. I'm not doing these all day, folks. I work behind the computer. I do a ton of stuff. So when you do these all day, if you're doing, say, 20, 30 a day, 100 a day, you're going to be way faster than I am. I mean, let's be honest. The more you do stuff, the better you get. 10 seconds. Since we're only doing opaque and opaque, we can peel it off right away. 4, 3, 2, 1. I think we're pretty good. Away. Hot peel. Oh, it's awesome. I love this. Very cool. And you see how the color pops right off? It looks freaking sharp. I love this. All right, let's do the other side. Let's get lasers involved. Okay, you can't see it well. I know, the camera doesn't. So I'm going to kill the lights for a second. Just so you can see it, then we're going to switch them back on. Okay, bring the camera up close. Okay, this is my laser alignment system. With the lights on, I promise you, you can see it just fine. But the camera doesn't pick it up. There's 40 lights in this room. It's really bright. It's a video room. But this laser alignment system, it's a Hotronix. I'm just going to show you. That's what it is. Okay, you got 4 lasers. You've got these that you can adjust on top. This is an add-on, by the way. That's some extra that you can get. It's really cool, though. You line it up. They give you a little chart to help you. You can measure. Let me get in a little. I think you can. Yeah, you can see it pretty well there. Let me make it a little darker. There we go. Now I think you can actually truly see what it is, where it's laying down for me. So, on the front of the shirt, we're doing a left chest logo. So I lined it up for the left chest logo. We did a name and a number. So let's say this is, practice shirt. On the back, Wolverines. On the front, they've got their name and their number. What about the back? Is it going to ruin it? No, it's not going to ruin the back. It's going to be perfectly fine. If you can get a threadable heat press, threadable means you can put the shirt over it and under it and around it. That's optimal because you're not cooking, or if you've got like rhinestones or spangles or something else involved. Some of those you can overcook, but the vinyl will be fine. Boom. So there's our front, there's our back, and this is sharp. It looks really, really good. Your customers are going to love this, and I can't describe the feeling to you, but it's a nice, smooth feeling material. Doesn't feel rubbery. My hand doesn't stick to it. The front is almost doesn't even feel like it's there. The back is layered, so I have a little more texture to it, but it still feels awesome, and it looks great. So let's get both of them next to each other. Let me check my time, see how much time I've had you here. 5, okay. So we started, I got 5 minutes to hit my hour, so we're gonna do that. So thank you, Brandon, thank you. So here's our 2 garments right here. Let's get up close and look at them. If we really break down how long it took to make these, when really going into it, let's just think about it for a moment, because I spent an hour making these 2 shirts. It would not have taken me an hour to do it by myself. When I did it by myself before I did it with you guys, maybe 15, 20 minutes, but let me tell you, let's break it down. Okay, each one that I had to cut, let's say approximately a minute. Probably faster than that. It took less than a minute to cut, but I switched colors. Let's just say a minute. So a minute for this color, a minute for that color, a minute for this color, a minute for that color. So we've got 4 minutes on the cutting of the 2 colors and the swapping of the colors. Putting it on the shirt, seconds, right? That first color, I put it on, I knew where to put it. 1 second, lifted it up, weed it. Second color, 10 seconds. Let's just give it another minute, right? We'll be generous. So a minute and a minute. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a minute and a minute to put it on. So we've got red. 6. Then I did another one on the front. Let's just give that another minute too. So 7. And then to design it. I think chatting with you guys and going through it, did I say it was maybe 10 minutes in the beginning? I probably could have done it in 3 or 4, honestly, on my own. That's probably all I spent on it. The first time I did it was maybe 4 minutes. So all in all, start to finish, 15 minutes to make both of these, including the design. That's great. It's fast. Now, if I was doing a whole bunch of these, I could easily do, I'm going to guess, trying to even think, 15, 20 in an hour, pretty easily. Okay, so let's talk about how much money that means to you and your business. I did math here. So this shirt right here, our total cost, this is a Gildan soft style, so it's a nice quality shirt. It's not the most expensive, it's not the cheapest. Got a couple bucks in the shirt. You've got we've got about 8 inches of the glitter vinyl and about 8 inches of the opaque vinyl. So I'm going to estimate the cost on this total production to be somewhere around $8 total, okay? Maybe even a little bit cheaper, including the shirt, all the material, any waste. That's being very, very conservative too. It might even be closer to $6 if we really started cutting this down. And if we cut them close to each other, you know, I could probably offset them and cut, say, you know, my second color this close to my first one. And I can get a lot more on my sheet, where my aggregate use would be less than 8 inches per design, more like 7.5. So, and then this one is going to be even less because we've got 2 colors of opaque. Opaque is a little bit less expensive. So if I had to do a little bit of a guess on that, this one's probably $6. So we can dissect the math a bunch of different ways, but the way that you do it is you do your design and you figure how much material am I using. Okay, I'm using 8 inches of material. I'm using 10 inches of material, 4 inches of material. And I can cut 1 across or 2 next to each other. Okay, if I can cut 2 for every 8 inches of material, well, now I've got that math to go with. I calculate how much it costs for every inch of material, and I add it off across. It's a little bit of math. If you need help in the beginning calculating your cost of how much you're actually spending, call us up and tell us, you know, hey, I use this much material per design. Can you help me do some math? We're happy to do it. So I'm going to switch off of this. Please ask some questions. Now's the time to ask questions. I am going to switch off of the camera and just go onto our website to show you really quick some stuff on there. Camera off, screen share on. You see where I finished here, cutting the red line? And we'll wrap up here in just a couple minutes. I'll just show you on the website where you can go and look at this. My mouse, oh, yeah, there we go. My Bluetooth mouse was angry. All right, so let's go to the Colman and Company website. Right on the front page, you click Cut and Press, or you go to Business Starter Kits and you click Cut and Press. That's where you're going to see the full kits. You can see me do another webinar, making a different shirt. There's a free ebook we have, Starting Your Own Business. So download a free ebook if you'd like. Heat transfer materials is where you can find your glitter and your pattern materials and the opaque colored materials. That's all under the heat transfer supplies. But here's our kits that we have. So this is kind of the kit we were talking about. That comes with that 14-inch heat press. You get materials, you get your tools, you get your software, you get everything. And then we've got our Pro kit, and then we've got the Pro kit with a larger heat press. This is without a heat press. So those are some basics on these kits. But look at the top of the page. We've got our phone number, big, bold letters. Call us up. So you have a question about it, you want to feel comfortable that you're going to work with a company who's going to back you up, help you get started, teach you how to do it. We've got all of that here. Call us up, ask about the materials, ask about the cut and press system. We've got the first shirt in 55 minutes tutorial. That's basically less than an hour. You will make your first shirt. So you will get this box, you will cut it open, take the things out of the box, and it'll say how to make your first shirt in 55 minutes right on a piece of paper. You follow the video instructions that walk you through with me. So we are on video together saying, okay, click here. This is how you install your software. This is how you set up your cutter. This is how you set up your blade. We walk through the whole thing, and it takes just under an hour to do it together. So you do it while I do it. If you get stuck, you pause and you do it again. If you're still a little bit stuck, you go to our website and you pick up the phone and you call and you say, I'm on step 5, what am I doing wrong? And we won't make fun of you. Well, not on the phone. Maybe after you hang up, but no. But in all seriousness, no. Like we're here to help you out. We're here to help you get going, be profitable. If you are successful, we're going to be successful. Because if you're successful, you're buying glitter material. You're buying more vinyls. You're putting more materials on T-shirts. You're buying them from us because we're your supplier. So if you are successful, then we're successful. So it's important to us to make sure that we get you started on this custom T-shirt system in the right direction from the beginning. Somebody laughed at my joke. Awesome. Estelle, all right, if you call and ask a silly question, we will make fun of you afterwards, but we won't tell you, I promise. All right, everybody. That's about our hour. So I think we got all the questions answered that we were going to ask. I know I covered a lot, so I've been trying to get to the point where I can almost answer every question before it gets asked. It doesn't ask them a lot. So I'm going to go get a drink of water, not any more coffee. I don't think I need any more coffee. And we're all set. So thanks everybody for watching. I appreciate everyone coming here and taking a look at the cut and press system and looking at some of the glitter and the opaque materials. Please give us a call and ask us any more questions you have, and we will help you get up and running really soon.